Hello, everybody. This is Salvatore Scalzo from the European Commission, from the Health Technology and Cosmetics unit of DG GROW. I'm extremely sorry if I cannot be physically with you today, but I hope anyway my intervention will be of help and of interest to you. I will try to talk to you today about the ongoing IMDRF work on UDI. Because actually, as from October 2017, I am the chair of the IMDRF working group that is dealing with the medical device identification. I guess, but I prefer not to take anything for granted, that everybody knows what IMDRF is. So it is the International Medical Device Regulators Forum, which includes the regulators on medical devices from the 10 largest economies in the world, and which has proven to be an extremely helpful forum to produce guidance which has informed very much the regulatory developments, I would say, worldwide. The IMDRF work on UDI, as I indicated at the very beginning, has resumed after some years, because there was already some work in 2012 and 13, which led to the first basic guidance on UDI. After that, IMDRF has resumed work on UDI as from October 2017. Actually, the IMDRF Management Committee meeting of September 2017 adopted the new work item, which deals with application aspects for UDI. But let's try. I prepared really a few slides to provide you with the basic information on what we are doing at the moment. So first of all, the working group. The working group, of course, reflects what IMDRF is, in the sense that we have these regulators from the 10 IMDRF Management Committee countries, as you can see, European Union, which is the chair. So it is the European Commission, but we have also a member from the Federal Minister of Germany, then Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, Japan, Russian Federation, Singapore, South Korea, and United States. So let me express my satisfaction in the fact that all IMDRF Management Committee countries are at the moment represented, which gives, of course, a lot of relevance to the work we are doing. Then we have also a representative from the World Health Organization, the WHO, and finally two representatives from the Global Industry Associations, GMTA and DITA. And it goes without saying that, especially in the context of UDI, we, let's say, give a lot of importance, we assign a lot of importance to the role of the industry in the field. And that's why also this is a group which is open to industry. Now I move to the next slide, which is about the background of the project we have undertaken in October 2017. As I said, let's say, it has been, the IMDRF decided to resume work on UDI at the IMDRF 12 meeting in Ottawa under the Canadian chairmanship, which was in September 2017. And the work was based on a GMTA proposal, so from the Global Industry Association. So there were some modifications, but the bulk of the proposal definitely comes from the original GMTA one. The purpose is basically to function as a complement to the IMDRF basic guidance, which was adopted in 2013. So the idea is to promote a globally harmonized approach to the application of a UDI system. So basically to provide more detail of specifications in terms of application of UDI principles. The scope of the work, as you can see, there are some, it is not exhaustive, the list. I think we would cover also some other aspects, but I would say this list of items that you can see in the slide reflects the bulk of the work we are doing. So first of all, the responsibilities. So the description of responsibilities for establishing and maintaining a UDI, the general UDI assignment rules, the considerations related to the placement of UDI on all packaging levels, on package labeling and on the device itself, the use of UDI in forms and databases, the considerations related to the submission of UDI core data elements to the UDI databases, the general principles for good implementation of a UDI system, in particular in terms of transition to a new UDI system and the feasibility issues for UDI marking, and finally also something which is very much related to the UDI database, that is to say, describing the general principles of a good UDI database design. Of course, particularly this latter element is for the regulators who are called to implement UDI databases. Let me also indicate that the application guide in the form that has taken and which underwent, as I will say very soon, which underwent recently the public consultation, a phase of public consultation, especially for this first point of the scope, the responsibility for establishing and maintaining a UDI, I want to highlight that we manage really to clarify or to attempt to clarify all the responsibilities of each single actor in the distribution chain in relation to UDI. And in relation to the last bullet, just let me highlight that GMTA did not only provide the original new work item proposal, so a draft of a new work item proposal, but they also complemented that proposal with the actual draft application guide. So in a way that provided a kind of already text upon which we managed then to build further. It is clear it has changed very much after October 2017. There were many reviews and edits, but definitely that draft application guide provided by GMTA served very much the purpose of starting the work and, let's say, setting the frame of the discussion. Now, the next slide is about the state of play, where we are now. There was a face-to-face meeting of the group, which took place in Brussels in February. I would like to mention in that respect, because it was quite successful and appreciated event, actually the form that face-to-face meeting took was a particular one, because we did not only arrange in that week the actual meeting of the work group, but we took the opportunity of the IMDRF UDI work group meeting also to arrange a big conference in Brussels, just with many participants from the different stakeholders, so not only regulators, but also industry, other economic cooperators, issuing entities, and it was an opportunity to discuss about the different aspects of UDI, which was an opportunity, of course, for the stakeholders to ask questions to regulators, but also to regulators who have less experience in UDI to, let's say, receive a very good, let's say, training, or say to take advantage of a very good training opportunity. Now, what the group did and what achieved and accomplished so far. What we have done in full line with the original plan, which was set, the working group has produced 3 draft documents. Actually, we could say, why 3 draft documents? I'll come to that very soon. But first, let me list them. So we have produced a main UDI application guide, as I already said, building very much on the original draft application guide, which was originally submitted by GMTA. And then there are 2 information documents which complement the main UDI application guide. One information document is aimed at mapping the use and specifications of UDI data elements in the different jurisdictions, based on the voluntary contributions submitted by jurisdictions that have already started to implement a UDI system. At the moment, in the draft we received contribution from the EU and the US. Of course, that kind of limited contribution, it is normal because there are still many jurisdictions who are in the course but have not yet concretely implemented the UDI system. They are in the course of building a new one. So that contribution will come at some point and will be included as well. And the third information document relates to the use of UDI in electronic health sources. So why 3 documents? Because we thought at some point we received a lot of contributions and there was a lot of discussion on the aspect of mapping UDI data elements in different jurisdictions, but also on providing concrete practical example and tools to help regulators to address the issue of how to capture UDI in electronic health sources. So we thought that the amount of information we had collected and also the interest that jurisdictions had in these topics deserved, let's say, a dedicated consideration. So for that reason, we decided to develop 2 separate information documents. but of course still under the scope of the original new work item proposal on UDI, which was adopted in September 2017. So these 3 documents have been submitted to the Management Committee at the end of May 2018, and at that teleconference, the Management Committee endorsed them for a 90-day public consultation. Also in this respect, let me highlight that we proposed actually as a group a 90-day rather than the usual 60-day public consultation, because the documents are very significant from, let's say, substance-wise. So we thought that it would be of interest to stakeholders to enjoy some more time to look at those documents carefully and make comments if needed. So the public consultation is ongoing on the IMDRF website and will last actually until a few days after this conference, so the RAPS meeting, because it will be until 12th of October 2018. Now, the next slide. I want to provide in the next 2 slides, this one and the next one, some more clear description of what is covered by those 3 documents that I just mentioned. Let's start with the UDI application guide, so which is also labeled as draft N14 IMDRF document. So the main objective, I think I already mentioned that at the very beginning. So the idea is to provide details and specifications necessary to ensure consistency in application of UDI worldwide. The intended users of the document, for sure, primarily medical device regulatory authorities and manufacturers that are involved in the, let's say, most substantially, most significantly in implementing and, let's say, on the one side to build UDI system, on the other side to be compliant with UDI systems, but also, let's say, the document is intended to assist all other economic operators, all other relevant stakeholders within the supply chain and also clinical care systems to gain a better understanding, not only of the role, but also that the impact the impact that UDI has on their different activities, because there are considerations, as I already indicated in relation to one of the previous slides. There are many, there are many aspects in the guidance which cover and address other stakeholders other than regulatory authorities and manufacturers. In terms of core contents of the guidance, first of all, there are technical considerations on UDI, which means a very detailed description of UDI structure, UDI carrier specifications, and barcode readers. Let me say in that respect that we were also able to, thanks to the contribution from the issuing entities which are mentioned in the UDI guidance of 2013, thanks to their contribution, we were in a position to include very detailed aspects about the UDI structure and UDI carrier specifications in particular, and to build a few appendices which are going certainly to be very useful to regulators worldwide. Then there are considerations on the UDID design, mostly for regulatory authorities, clearly, but not necessarily only for regulatory authorities. But let's say normally it is up to the regulatory authorities to build UDI database and therefore confront with the very challenging issues of how to design the database. Then the third point is about the key aspect, as I already said in one of the previous slides, the responsibilities across the distribution chain. We tried to capture all the, let's say, the responsibilities of all actors that are in the distribution chain in relation to UDI, of course. Then considerations on transition to UDI systems, so how to make sure that the transition is feasible and realistic for all operators involved. Then the fifth point is about the UDI rules for specific products. This basically, we build very much on the list of specific rules, on specific products actually, for which specific rules apply as indicated in the 2013 guidance. So building on that, we tried, on that list of specific products, we tried now to produce more and more examples to help operators let's say, understand much better how those rules which were indicated in the 2013 guidance apply. I must say that in one case, we added the new product that was not there in 2013 because that product was subject to, let's say, to very specific considerations and particularly in the only country which has so far achieved quite some experience with the UDI, practical experience with UDI, which is the US. So the contact lenses, the contact lenses are, let's say, those products also that we considered based upon the US experience to deserve some specific considerations. So that's why we also added considerations on contact lenses in the guidance. And the final point is about something I already partly mentioned. There are very detailed appendices which are intended to facilitate practical understanding of the subject. So these are mostly related to UDI structure, UDI carrier specifications, and rules for specific products. Now, the information documents. Let's start with the first one. The information document on the use of UDI data elements across IMDRF jurisdictions. We see, as IMDRF UDI working group, this document as a major opportunity, as a major tool to be used by regulators worldwide and by operators worldwide that are called to implement UDI systems. So the idea is really to provide a tool through which you can understand, by comparison, what are the data elements and the specifications related to the data elements that apply in the different jurisdictions. The concept behind that is that, of course, we expect the most of the elements of the specifications, I would say, to be the same. But it is important to operators also to understand what are the differences and why, in some cases, there are differences. So we try to build up this tool. So the document provides, among also other things, a UDI data elements dictionary that contains the descriptions of the data is collected in the different national UDI databases. We also, because we have already a description of the core data elements shared by the jurisdictions in the IMDRF UDI guidance of 2013, so we tried also to provide some mapping against the core data elements listed in the IMDRF UDI guidance of 2013, because we think also that kind of comparison can be helpful. Then what else to say about that? The voluntary nature of the contributions, I would say. That is an important factor. I mean, this document relies on voluntary contributions. And also, as I indicated at the beginning, the contribution is clearly related also to the stage at which a jurisdiction is in terms of UDI implementation. That is why in the draft that you can find on the IMDRF website for public consultation, now you have only contribution from the EU and the US. A regular update of this document will be very, very important. We consider as a UDI working group. As I will say later, we plan actually to produce a plan for maintenance to be submitted to the management committee soon, because particularly this document actually will need a review to be really a kind of up-to-date tool over the next few years. The second information document is on how to record the unique device identifier in electronic health sources. So the rationale of this is that the benefits of UDI, we recognize that the benefits of UDI are more likely to be achieved when the UDI is recorded in real-world electronic health systems. So there is a need for, particularly for regulators, to, let's say, capture those benefits and to have practical examples to rely upon. So the idea, the document aims basically to provide a common set of best practices that can be generalized for use by all data sources that wish to scan the UDI and use data extracted from the UDI databases. So we think that this will be more and more a key issue. It is about how to integrate the UDI into the different, let's say, into the more complex healthcare supply chain and into the more complex healthcare, let's say, electronic systems. So, and to make sure that UDI can really be the basic tool for identifying a device throughout all those healthcare electronic systems. So we really wanted to devote and dedicate specific attention to this aspect, because we think it is really a future-proof concept. It is something that whose importance is gonna grow more and more over the next few years. Now, about the next steps. I mean, the immediate next step is quite close, actually, in the sense that the next face-to-face meeting of the group is scheduled in Washington on 19th, 15th of October, so in 2 weeks. And the agenda includes mostly the following 3 points. So clearly, point of priority, the analysis of comments received during the public consultation and the finalization of the 3 documents. That is clearly the top priority. But as I already mentioned, we also, as a second point, we will discuss the maintenance plan for the 3 documents, because we think that UDI is an emerging issue, is an evolving topic in the sense that a lot is built based on the current and the practical experience that jurisdictions have. So with when implementing UDI systems, so there is a clear need for regular update. And the third point, we will have a specific focus on issuing entities, because there is an important chapter on issuing entities and the role of issuing entities in the document. And so we want really, we value very much the possibility to discuss with them whether that let's say that section is appropriate and fit for purpose. So we will have a dedicated meeting with them during half of the 5 days, let's say 1.5 day during the meeting week. It will be on the 17th of October in the morning, actually, for your information. Now, in terms of finalization of the documents, that is clearly dependent very much on the number and significance of the comments received. In principle, we have 2 options. One would be to deliver the final documents by December 2018 for approval during the Management Committee teleconference, which is to take place, we don't know, either December or January 2019. But if there is a need for some more time to deal with some of the comments or to really come up with a fully agreed draft within the group, then the deadline would be postponed to March 2019. But that would be the latest possible deadline. So we really hope. So basically, the final document is expected to be adopted by, at the latest, March 2019 under the Russian chairmanship of IMDRF. I would say this concludes my presentation. Of course, even off the record, I'm really happy. I'm happy to share my contacts with you through the organizers. Should there be any specific questions or comments, that would be extremely welcome. Let me just indicate as a final comment that I'm really thankful to all the members of this group, and also to already the people who have contributed even externally through comments or proposals, because I think we are building something very important for the sector. We are building an application document which is going certainly to have an impact on many jurisdictions worldwide, and to create something which is wished, I think, by everybody, regulators and industry and other operators, that is to say, to build much more convergence in this field, because particularly UDI is an aspect that has a clear impact not only on how the data are administered in electronic systems, but also it has an impact on labels. So I think the convergence in the UDI field is essential, and this document is certainly going to play an important part in that. Once again, thank you very much, and I hope to see all of you next time face to face. I hope there will be a chance for that. Thank you.